Dear Venerable Sisters, Dhamma friends, we have come to the second Dhamma sermon of this English medium retreat. May you give your consent by saying Sadhu Sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Chaturaditthano ayam bhikkhu purisoti. Dear Dhamma friends, dear Venerable Sisters, as you all can remember, we are discussing a particular sutta which is available in Majjhima Nikaya, and its name is called Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta, kind of exposition of elements. So yesterday we touched one aspect of that. Actually we are in a series of sermons explaining this particular sutta, and they are going beyond the typical conceptual understanding that we are human beings, I am a man, and I am a woman, I am a mother, I am a father, I am a child, like that. So going beyond that conceptual understanding, Buddha is giving some deeper meanings to these living beings. So going beyond the being, he is telling that the so-called person is 6 elements. Then we have discussed that to some extent. And in other way, he is telling this so-called being is 6 contacts. And again he is telling this so-called being, person, is 18 types of mental explorations. And again we discussed and actually started to discuss that Buddha is telling this so-called being, person, is 4 kinds of foundations or 4 kinds of determinations. Chaturaditthano ayam bhikkhu puriso. So there are the 4 determinations are basically mentioned as determination on wisdom, determination on truth, determination on relinquishment, and determination on peace. Panyaditthano, Satchaditthano, Chagaditthano, and Upasamaditthano. So these are really interesting topics, and we are discussing one by one. And we started yesterday with Panyaditthano, determination on wisdom. And there Buddha mentions that one should not neglect wisdom, so that we can anyway understand we should not neglect wisdom, and we have to develop wisdom. And this wisdom is not something that in mundane terms that we are talking in everyday life, that we have to develop this and that, we have to pass this exam, we have to pass that exam, we have to earn this degree, that degree, and we have to become so and so. So likewise we have some idea about the typical worldly kind of knowledge. So this typical worldly kind of knowledge and the wisdom that Buddha is showing is very much entirely different. So we have to be careful and we have to be humble to understand what Buddha is talking. What is the wisdom he is appreciating? What is the wisdom that he is praising? So that is what we are trying to discuss. And yesterday we discussed about 5 elements. There he started telling that this wisdom aspect has 6 elements. First element, earth element, water element, air element, and fire element, and then the space element. We have discussed to some extent about these 5 elements, and in order to comprehend or to understand these elements, we have to go through some meditative practice, and the specific type of meditation specifically used to understand these elements are called Dhatu Manasikara Bhavana, or 4 elements meditation. So that is available in Satipatthana Sutta, comes under Kayanupassana, where Buddha says, irrespective of the posture, you can be at any posture and you can develop the understanding on elements. While being sitting, you can understand the elements. While standing, you can understand elements. While lying down, you can understand elements. while walking you can understand elements. Any posture it can be used to understand elements. There is no any specific posture, because this whole body in that sense contains 4 elements. So whatever hardness, softness, heaviness, lightness, roughness, smoothness, so those are characteristics of earth element. Then whatever is watery, liquid, flowing, that belong to the water element. Then whatever is fiery, hot and cold, so those are for heat element or fire element. Whatever the movement, vibration, so those are belong to air element. So whenever we understand these characteristics, we can understand that particular element is talking to us. It's a manifestation of that element. So in a way we need to understand the language of the elements. So they don't speak in English or Sinhala, rather they speak in their own language. So that is the way that we need to understand. So but this language, in order to understand this language, we don't need any other man-made language. So without English, without Sinhalese, we can understand the elements language. It is a direct touch, it's a direct connection. So that is where if we can calm down our mind, inner chatter, inner thinking, chattering, and then if we can directly feel hardness, if we directly can feel softness, if we can directly feel heaviness, directly feel lightness, directly feel softness, smoothness, roughness, so then we can understand the availability of earth element. Similarly, the other elements, if you can understand the availability of any of these elements, you can see this body is nothing but 4 elements. Space element also you can understand, but I am giving emphasis on the 4 elements. So basically, if you can develop fair amount of concentration and pay your attention to different parts in the body, wherever these elements are talking to us, then we can understand what they are talking. At a given time, earth element may be talking to us. Another time, water element is talking to us. Another time, fire element is talking to us. Another time, air element is talking to us. So we don't know which one would talk. So it is unpredictable. So we have no governability on any of these things. Say for example, we were expecting air element to be present or air element to talk to us, to tell us something, but it may be a different element at that time predominant. So we have to have some kind of an open mind without selecting or without having any preference. We are simply having an open mind and just ready to accept, ready to acknowledge whatever the way elements are talking. It may be the heavy side, or it may be the light side. Say for example, in the earth element there are heavy side and the other side is in a way light. And so which characteristic would present at a given moment is unpredictable. It depends on so many causes. Similarly, when that particular characteristic arises, how long will it last, when it disappears, is again non-governable. So it is not in our hand. So they play their own role. They behave as per their conditions, as per their causes, and we have almost no control on this process. So when you are able to observe like this, what are the characteristics that we can understand? Basically, we can understand they are impermanent. So these different elements are behaving, and which one going to appear is uncertain. And when it appear, their behavior again uncertain. And when they disappear also uncertain. And throughout this arising and the disappearance, there's a continuous change happens. Therefore, it is impermanent. If you are expecting any kind of satisfaction from these changing phenomena, we are going to suffer. Because we may be likened to a particular state of the behavior of elements, but that behavior is extremely vulnerable, extremely changing, so we don't know when it is going to be otherwise. Therefore, we are going to suffer in case we attach to a particular state. So more and more we observe like this, our mind becomes dispassionate about this process. And not only internally, even the externally, this is the same thing. Internally we understand the availability of four elements, manifestation of the four elements. Similarly outside also, nothing but four elements. Wherever we look at, four elements. And they arise and pass away. They arise and pass away. So one will understand the impermanent, suffering, non-self. So these are going to give us more deeper understanding of elements. Now Buddha is teaching Venerable Pukkusati about consciousness element. That is the sixth element. Typically, consciousness is very rarely discussed in this way. Rather, it's sometimes discussed with regard to Nama Rupa and with regard to five aggregates, five khandhas. But in this particular sutta, consciousness, vijnana, is discussed with the function of the consciousness, that is to understand happiness, pain, or happy feeling, painful feeling, and neutral feeling. So main function of consciousness, Buddha says, is to understand when there is pleasurable feeling, there is a pleasurable feeling. That's the task of the consciousness. When there is painful feeling, consciousness can understand there is a painful feeling. When there is neither painful nor happy feeling is there, neutral feeling is there, again it is the consciousness which will cognize us. So this is the basic function of the consciousness. As per this sutta, the basic function of consciousness is to understand different tones of the feeling. It may be happy feeling, it may be painful feeling, it may be a neutral feeling. So we all can understand, if there is no consciousness, if we are unconscious, we don't know what are the feelings. So that may be that suppose we went through some kind of anesthesia, or we went through some kind of unconscious situation, and we don't know what are the things happen at that time because we have no feelings. So the doctors, nurses went through some kind of a difficult surgery, but we don't have any feeling because we are not conscious. But when we regain the consciousness, we can feel the pain, we can feel the pleasure, we can feel the neutral feelings. So as we can understand, that is the main task of the consciousness is to cognize this feeling. Either it may be painful, it may be pleasurable, it may be neutral. So with meditation, we are trying to understand these different feelings. So the subject related to feelings is explained in Vedananupassana. So say for example, you are developing fair amount of concentration, maybe using Anapanasati, or maybe using rising and falling, whatever the way, you are developing fair amount of mindfulness and concentration. Suppose your mind is fairly concentrated, you have some focused attention, no much distraction, and suppose now you are paying attention to the body in general. You don't know where the pain going to appear, so you are having an open mind and keeping your attention to the whole body. Suppose now there is a feeling going to arise at your knee. So you immediately keep your attention at the knee and you are observing that. So this pain appearing at the knee may be not that interesting at the beginning. So because it's in the very much like in the surface level, and it's kind of a neutral feeling maybe, may be a painful feeling, so it's not that interested. But we are not giving up, so we are keeping our attention again and again there. We might get distracted to the past, to the future, if we are if we are not having enough concentration, but we are continuing our practice, and our practice leads to maintain our attention at that given pain, at that given feeling. So that is where we need to have fair amount of practice. We have to have fair amount of attention, continuous attention at that particular place. So now there is a pain developing, it is changing, it is spreading, it is changing its tone. So there are different changes going on. We have to have enough patience to understand what is really going on. So Buddha, giving a beautiful simile, he says this pain is like when heavy rain happens, you know that if it is raining to a river or to a kind of a reservoir, then the water bubbles arising and passing away. Each raindrop causing a water bubble to arise, and then immediately it's burst. Another raindrop happens, and then immediately water bubble arise and then burst. So like that, you can see, if you can imagine kind of a rain happening onto a water surface, then there are immediately different again and again water bubbles arising and passing away, or arising and then bursting. Buddha says pain is similarly, even though it appears like a single pain, if you observe closely, it is very small little pains there and here and there arising and passing away. But the combination, when we consider the whole thing, it appears like one pain. But once your clear comprehension improves, your attention improves, your focus improves, then you can understand it is not a single pain, rather it's a combination, it's a collection of pains. Little pains are collected, and they are the resultant effect. We feel like a single pain. So more and more you understand that, more and more you observe that, then you will see that these pains are not permanent, and you can't even predict where the next pain going to happen. Actually, I am using the term pain, but you can use it to the happy feeling as well. It may be happy feeling, it may be painful feeling, it may be neutral feeling. Any of these things are valid. So we have an open mind to acknowledge any of these feelings, and we don't know the next feeling would be either happy feeling or painful feeling or neutral feeling. So we have no selection. It is their own causes causing to arise that particular category of feeling. Say for example, if there are causes to produce happy feeling, then happy feeling will arise. If there are causes to arise neutral feeling, then the neutral feeling will arise. If there are causes to create painful feeling, then the painful feeling will arise. So we can't create our own feelings. So Buddha says, passa pacca vedana. So passa, the contact, is the cause, the main cause for creating or making feeling. When there are types of contact which is conducive to produce happy feeling, then happy feeling will arise. As a result, happy feeling will arise. When there are contacts conducive to produce painful feeling, then the painful feeling arises. When there are contact which is conducive or which is causing to produce neutral feeling, then the neutral feeling will arise. So Buddha is giving a beautiful simile which we can understand, we all can understand easily. So during the old days, we didn't have matchsticks or lighters to ignite fire. What they use is dry sticks. So they were using 2 dry sticks. So what they do is they are rubbing these dry sticks together, again and again, rubbing. So as a result, because of this rubbing of these 2 fire sticks, there's a kind of a heat going to generate. So you can understand when you are rubbing 2 dry fire sticks, there's a heat going to generate because we continuously rub, then the heat going to generate. So as a result of this contact, as a result of this rubbing, heat is generated. Now what happens if we keep these fire sticks away without rubbing? That generated heat will dissipate, and it will cool down. So you can understand, so this heat to arise, there is a cause. That is the contact, that is the rubbing. And if there is no rubbing, if there is no contact, heat either dissipate or no more heat is generated. Similarly, Buddha says, when there is contact, feeling arise. When there is no contact, no feeling. So one will develop this kind of understanding. Passapacchaya Vedana is one beautiful link in the Paticcasamuppada to understand Paticcasamuppada. You know, there are different links in Paticcasamuppada, and if you are developing Vedananupassana, through Vedananupassana, you can understand the principle of Paticcasamuppada, principle of dependent arising, using this Passapacchaya Vedana. The contact causes feeling. You can see when a painful feeling arises, there is a cause for that. When a neutral feeling arises, there is a cause for that. When a happy feeling arises, there is a cause for that. When that cause is there, this feeling arises. When that cause is there, happy feeling arises. When that cause is there, say painful feeling arises. This causes that. So that principle, Paticcasamuppada principle, you can understand. It's a kind of penetrative knowledge. So you have to have a very clear mind, calm mind, focused mind, and you are paying your attention at the pain. You are very focused, and you see that different types of feelings are arising, and you are little vigilant to see what is the cause. So now you can understand what is the cause. It's the different types of contacts are there. That particular contact will cause him to arise corresponding feeling. So this is a very important way of understanding Paticcasamuppada through Vedananupassana. And more and more you practice, more and more you will become equanimous. So when happy feeling arises, you are not overjoyed, because you have seen that happy feeling does not last for long. It does not last for days, it does not last for hours, but it lasts only for a moment, till that causes are available. Similarly, the painful feeling, it does not last for ever, unless it's a kind of a ever sort of a lifetime kind of a situation. But typically, when the typical causes are available, corresponding painful feeling arise, and when the causes are no more, that corresponding feeling also disappear. So you will understand the kind of impermanent nature of feelings. More and more you understand the impermanence of the feeling, so you become little dispassionate about the feelings. Even when pleasurable feeling arises, you are not attached to it. Even when painful feeling arises, you are not averse to it. And again, one of the important factor is, even for the neutral feeling, you are not ignorant. Rather, neutral feeling becomes a pathway to develop wisdom. Because as you can understand, Anapanasati is a typical rubbing sensation happens at the nostril. It's neither painful nor pleasurable. Rather, it's a kind of a neutral feeling. Typically, we neglect this feeling. But now, suppose you are keeping your attention at the nostril and you are being aware of this rubbing sensation. It's a very neutral, boring kind of sensation. Therefore, it is neutral, and you can understand even this neutral feeling arising and passing away. Even a happy feeling arising and passing away. Even a painful feeling arising and passing away. So everywhere you can see these common characteristics. Everywhere you can see this kind of common nature which is common to all the types of feeling. Actually, it is not only for feeling. Any kind of conditioned phenomena has these three characteristics: impermanence, suffering, and non-self. We discussed that availability for 4 elements on yesterday. Similarly, you can understand the same 3 characteristics you can understand by observing feelings. Through Vedanānupassana also you can understand it. So therefore Buddha says, Samudaya Dhammanupassīvā Vedanāsu Viharati. Vaya Dhammanupassīvā Vedanāsu Viharati. Samudaya Vaya Dhammanupassīvā Vedanāsu Viharati. So you are observing pain, observing happy feeling, observing neutral feeling, how they are arising, how they are passing away, how they are arising and passing away. And again you understand the cause. So let me brief this with another beautiful verse which comes in Sutta Nipata, in Dvaitanupassana Sutta. Buddha says, Sukhang va yadiva dukkhang adukkhama sukhang saha ajjattancha bahiddacha yankinchi atti veditang evang dukkhanti ñattvāna mosa dhammang palokitang pussa pussa vayang passang evang tattha virajjati vedanānaṁ khaya bhikkhu niccāto parinibbuto. So what Buddha summarizes there is sukhang va yadiva dukkhang adukkhama sukhang saha. So there are the 3 types of feelings are mentioned: either happy feeling, either painful feeling, either neutral feeling. Ajjattancha bahiddacha yankinchi atti veditang. Either it may be internal or external, whatever the way of feeling present. Evan dukkhanti ñattvāna mosa dhammam palokitang. And it is kind of unsatisfactory, and it is kind of deluding us. If we are not mindful, they are tempting us, and they are not lasting. Palokitang, they constantly change, they constantly arising and passing away, they constantly disappear. Pussa pussa vayam passang evan tatta virajjati. To each and every contact, there's a corresponding feeling, and for each and every contact, there's a corresponding feeling. So the meditator, the practitioner is understanding for each and every contact there's a feeling. So he is observing each and every contact and corresponding feeling, contact and corresponding feeling, contact and corresponding feeling. More one observes it, evan tattha virajjati. So he becomes dispassionate about this process. Vedanānaṁ khaya bhikkhu niccāto parinibbuto. So if one continues like this, rather than passionate about the process, he becomes dispassionate about the process. So there's a kind of a nibbida, disenchantment arise in observing this process. So Buddha explaining this kind of practice to Venerable Pukkusati. Now he is listening to Buddha's teaching, and we can understand his faculties are now developing. He is listening to the Buddha's advice, and there we can remember that before Buddha starts to teach, Venerable Pukkusati has got into some concentration, kind of samadhi, and he was enjoying. And Buddha didn't want to interfere him. Rather, when he emerged from that concentration only, Buddha started to preach. Now, Buddha is telling, now when one continue with this Vedanānupassana, one develops fair amount of equanimity. One does not jump into either pleasure or pain. Rather, one likes to, or one's way of behavior, his state of mind becomes fairly equanimous. So this equanimity is a good ground, a fair ground to develop wisdom. Because if our mind is agitated, we can't easily develop wisdom. But if we are maintaining some kind of a uninterrupted, kind of a neutral baseline of the mind, then it is a good ground, good field to develop wisdom. So now Buddha is paying attention or drawing attention of Venerable Pukkusati to another side, and he says, if you are drawing this particular well-developed, well-equanimous, malleable, wieldy mind towards the attainment of arupavachara jhana, that is starting with the boundless space, that is still is conditioned. If you are drawing your attention to develop Vijnananchayatana, that is the boundless consciousness, still it is conditioned. Similarly, he is mentioning all the 4 immaterial jhana, and he is telling all those states are still conditioned. And anyway, the mind of the Pukusati may be well concentrated, and as per Buddha's teaching, it is becoming more and more concentrated, wise, and his mind also is now malleable, workable, wieldy, radiant. So all the good qualities are there in the mind of the Venerable Pukusati. And there Buddha is drawing his attention and telling, so whatever these heightened states, heightened concentration state are still conditioned. So rather than being there, and he is telling, so nevatang abhisankaroti, na abhisanchetayiti. So he is requesting, Buddha is advising Venerable Pukusati not to create conditions to absorb to that state, not to create any kind of willingness, any intention to be in that state. And na kinchi loke upaditi. So he is asking to maintain kind of a free mind, not grasping anything. Anupadiyang na paritasati. If one does not grasp anything, there is no agitation in the mind. Aparitassang pacchattang eva parinibbayati. If one does not associate any conditioned phenomena, then mind is not agitated, then mind is still, then mind is free, then mind basically, momentarily maybe, attains Nibbana, kind of cessation. So this is a kind of a turning point where Buddha is telling to Venerable Pukusati, because as we can understand, Venerable Pukusati already has developed concentration. Now Buddha is developing wisdom and giving the teaching, giving the key teaching of the Buddha, and he is asking Venerable Pukusati not to lean or not to grasp any of the concentrated state, because that concentrated state is a conditioned state. It's also impermanent. It's also conditioned. There are causes to maintain it. Therefore, it is vulnerable. So, don't associate that kind of a vulnerable, impermanent, conditioned state. So, don't create any kind of willingness to or intention to have that. So, have a kind of an independent mind. Now, Buddha is taking or drawing his attention to kind of an objectless state. So, this is a kind of a breaking through happening in his practice. So we can see that maybe momentarily, maybe for a small period, now the minds of Venerable Pukusati is getting to that anisthita state, free state, independent state, empty state. Empty from any defilement, empty from any conditioned phenomena. So its mind becomes unagitated and peaceful. Still there is something to do. So then Buddha says, so sukhang vedanang vedeti sa anicchati pajanati, anajjositati pajanati, anabhinanditati pajanati. Now he is now trying to maintain kind of a independent state of mind, unassociated any of the feelings. Maybe pleasurable feeling arise, he is not much attracted to that. Painful feeling arise, he is not averse to that. Neutral feeling arise, he is not ignorant about that. And he is trying to maintain kind of a peaceful mind, unagitated mind, unattached mind, undefiled mind, free mind. So when he is maintaining this kind of a state, he can see happy feeling arise and it disappear. Because his mind is peaceful, so his peaceful mind can understand, can observe. There is a little far, there's a pleasurable feeling arising and it disappearing. Similarly, a painful feeling arising and it disappearing. Similarly, a neutral feeling arising and it disappearing. Because he is in a calm state. His mind does not get agitated because of different tones of the feeling. He is maintaining his mind unassociated, free, independent. So sukhang vedanang vedeti visangyutto tang vedeti. So Buddha says, when pleasurable feeling is going on, he is not cling to it. He is not welcoming it. He is not delighted by that. He is not holding it. Rather, he is unattached from pleasurable feeling. Similarly, painful feeling arising, he is not holding it, he is not averse to it, he is not attached to it or delighted by that, of course, and he is free from that painful feeling. Unattached from the painful feeling, he is observing it. So, adukkama sukhang vedanang vedeti visangyukto tang vedeti. All the three types of feelings are arising, but his attitude is unattached. He's no more clung to any of these. Now this is in a way kind of a ongoing process. It is not that within a day one may be able to develop. So if you consider our own practice, if we take the teaching to our own practical terms, suppose one is developing Vedananupassana and there are happy feelings arise and you keep your attention there and you observe happy feelings, how they are arising, how they are changing, how they are passing away. So you are observing. Similarly, the painful feelings arise, you observe, you keep your attention there, you observe the nature of the painful feelings. Then the neutral feelings arise, you keep your attention there, you observe the behavior of the neutral feelings. More and more you observe that, as I said, your mind becomes little dispassionate about the process. So the feelings are there. It is like that you are observing someone else's feeling. No more you claim these feelings as my feelings. I am happy, I am suffering. Is something ignorant way of talking to that. Rather, now you understand feeling as feeling. Vedanasu vedananupassi vihirati. There are different types of feelings. There are different causes causing them. And you observe them as a neutral observer. Non-judgmental observation. Unattached observation. Kind of distant observation. It's going on now. Suppose you are continuing like this. More and more you observe like this. Suppose you got a little pain at your knee, so you are ready to observe it. Now you closely observing it. So this single pain has now divided into many little pains. So you are ready to observe these little pains, and you are able to locate a particular little pain, and it is constantly arising and passing away. So you have lost where it is. You don't know now it is at your knee. So all these terms, vocabulary, concepts have gone. You are purely with arising and passing away of pain. Suppose if you can come to this kind of situation, then very much like you can penetrate that dependent arising. So you can see that's a kind of arising and then disappearing, arising and disappearing, and you will lose the attribute of space. Where you are sitting, what is the place, all are terms, names given by the man. So all are lost, gone. And the place, the knee, the leg, hand, all are names. All the names given by man, all are gone. And again the time, is it evening, is it morning, all are gone. So time and space gone, but you are simply with arising and passing away. So if one can maintain this kind of very profound, very direct touch with the sensation, direct touch with the feeling, and that is the only object at that given time the mind has. There is no any other object. So it is not in the past, not in the future. It is with this very moment, very right and now. And that process also arising and passing away. Nothing to grasp. If one develops this kind of situation, Buddha says, Vedana Dhatuya, this the feeling element, when kind of a dispassionate arises to us, that then the link between this particular feeling and the mind, the consciousness can break. Then mind become objectless. Then the attention, like Buddha advising to Venerable Pukkusati, we can say, rather than attaching to any particular object, rather than grasping any object, rather than holding any object, one is trying to maintain unattached mind, free mind, independent mind. That is what Buddha again and again reiterating, again and again emphasizing, anissitoja viharati, nacha kinchi loke upadiyati. So typical behavior of the mind is upadana, clinging, holding, grasping. But now the practitioner trying his best to maintain unattached mind, without clinging, without grasping. He is maintaining anissita mind. That is, anissita means unattached, unassociated, independent way of mind. So maybe we may be experiencing that momentarily, but again and again we are practicing. Again and again we are creating causes, making causes to come to that state. Now say we are staying there for 2 moments, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Like that one is cultivating the state. So one understands it is possible. Mind used to associate object, mind used to grasp object, mind used to hold object, but with practice one can maintain free mind. One can maintain empty mind. One can maintain unattached mind. One can maintain unentangled mind. So we are developing. But again mind go and grasp. Again kind of distant feeling arise. Different pain arise. Happy, pleasurable feeling arise. Neutral feeling arise. So Buddha is advising. One will understand while being in this unattached state, one will understand it arise and pass away. Feeling arise and pass away. Neutral feeling arise and pass away. Happy feeling arise and pass away. So more and more one stands, more and more understands, then you are more and more seasoning this state of mind. So it's kind of a neutral, peaceful state of mind. So Buddha says, so when one develops this kind of attitude, this kind of practice, more and more wisdom arises. And at the end, Buddha says, so kaya pariyattikang vedanang vediyamano, kaya pariyattikang vedanang vediyamiti pajanati. So one develops more and more with this practice, and he might come across the kind of a pain which does not simply stop or disappear, but it will only disappear with the termination of the body. Now he is coming to the end of his life, and there's still kind of a pain. And at that death moment, he will understand, Buddha says, So jivita pariyattikang vedanang vediyamano jivita pariyattikang vedanang vediyamiti pajanati. He will understand now there is a kind of a pain available. It does not disappear. It will last till the life available. Basically, that particular pain will terminate only with the life. And he is not holding that pain. He is not encouraging that pain. He is not grasping that pain. Rather, he is observing even that life terminating pain. And he understands when this life finish, everything will cools down. Because there is no more rebirth. So this is the culmination, this is the crux of the completion. So typically we say when the defilements are completely eradicated, one will attain sopadisesa nibbana. Because the aggregates are continuing. But when the arahant, with the final passing away of the arahant, one attains the anupadisesa nibbana. So the complete consciousness cease. So this is what Buddha is telling there. So the arahant will understand. So there is a kind of a life terminating pain, and he is ready to observe that with the passing away of this body, the completion, the extinction of the cessation of the life, that feeling, that pain also will disappear. So Buddha giving a kind of a beautiful simile there. So we can see there's a lamp. So this lamps typically are burning due to two reasons. So Buddha says a typical oil lamp, one cause is oil, next cause is wick. When wick and oil is available, lamp is burning. And these are the two causes. Suppose either wick or oil disappear or finish, and we are not putting a new wick or we are not putting new oil, we are not adding any oil, then what happened? So with the completion, with the finishing of oil, there is no more support of oil, no more supply of oil, it will extinguish. Similarly, Buddha says, now there are causes to continuation of the life, and when no more causes are given, so it will simply pass away. But there is no rebirth, because the causes are no more. This is the kind of a complete anupadisesa parinibbana where Buddha is telling to Venerable Pukkusati. And there Buddha says, Tasma evan samannagato bhikkhu imina paramena panyaditthanena samannagato hoti. If one has this kind of complete understanding of all six elements, different meditations, all the knowledges pertaining to that, how one develops meditative understanding, how one develops this kind of wisdom, there Buddha says, this is the supreme foundation of wisdom. Is the supreme determination of wisdom. Esahi bhikkhu parama ariya panya yadidang sabba dukkakkaye jnana. So there Buddha telling to Venerable Pukkusati, this is the supreme noble wisdom which is destruction of all suffering. So this is actually the ending as an arahant. So Buddha is giving the instructions to Venerable Pukkusati. So we were discussing actually the panyaditthana, that is the first type of foundations or determinations that Buddha is explaining to Venerable Pukkusati. So there he explained first 5 elements in terms of, actually we can say elements meditation. So one can understand those characteristics to elements meditation, Dhatu Manasikara. On the other hand, the 6th element, consciousness element, its behavior, its task, one can understand through Vedananupassana. So these are actually 2 beautiful types of meditation that one can undertake, and both are really capable of giving extremely good results. Actually, this does not mean these are the only ways. That in other suttas that Buddha is taking to other sides as well. But in this particular sutta, emphasis is given to elements. That is why the Dhatu, this Dhatu Vibhanga, where exposition of elements, things are explained in terms of elements. They does not belong to me, it is not I, it is not a self, but they are arising due to causes. Dhatu typically means there is no controlling, governing body, agent, rather there are causes, due to causes things are arising. So entirely this discourse is targeting wisdom. Again, this particular topic that we have taken yesterday and today are again aiming purely on wisdom. Panyaditthana, the determination of wisdom. So Buddha is talking about how one develop wisdom. So you can see, typically the mundane terms, our knowledge, our wisdom, and what Buddha is telling, what Buddha is showing has a significant difference. So there, you need to have a well concentrated mind to understand. You need to have a focused mind to understand. You need to observe these phenomena constantly for a long period to understand. It does not arise in a night. So it's a continuous process. And again, if we think that we can do it within this life, the whole thing become arahant, maybe too much. So, but still we have to try. Because we don't know what is the potential we have. We don't know to what extent we have developed. We don't know what is our past lives accumulated merit. To what extent our minds are developed. So that is why we need to understand the teaching and again to practice. Without practice, nothing will happen. That is why Panyang Nappa Majjaya. So Buddha is emphasizing related to wisdom, one should not neglect the practice developing wisdom. So this wisdom does not come automatically. Just by worshipping Buddha, it does not come. So you need to practice. There are causes. So these are the causes. So the whole you can understand, it's entirely a practical process. So it is not, the Buddha can only show the path. We ourselves have to practice and develop the wisdom. It's entirely a cause and effect relationship even for the wisdom. So with that final note, I like to invite that let's try our best to develop wisdom without neglecting this opportunity, because right now as human beings, we have some good faculties. We are with some developed minds. We are not much distracted with the typical sensual objectives of our lives. Still they may be available, but still we have some inclination towards the Buddha's teaching, towards the Buddha's path, towards the spiritual path. So let's develop that skill. Let's develop that objective and try to make use of this opportunity. And with that invitation, I will conclude today's Dhamma sermon. Thank you very much for listening. There's a small sharing of merits. The merit goes to Pushpa Fanandu, and her wish is the yogis here to achieve their goal. So basically, Ms. Pushpa Fanandu is actually giving today's alms, and her wish is to fulfill your goal. So that is to attain maybe supreme bliss of Nibbana. So let's wish that her wish also may come true, and she also with the merit fulfill her wishes and attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. So we all get together today as well and preserved our morality and develop concentration and develop wisdom, and this way we were able to accumulate a lot of merits. We'll share these merits with all the passed away relatives. We'll share these merits with all the celestial beings. We'll share these merits with all the innocent beings or whoever in need of merits. Let these merits help us also to develop wisdom and to overcome ignorance and to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. While keeping these good wishes in our mind, let's recite the traditional verses. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha ca bummatta devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bummatta devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu desanang. Akasattha ca bummatta devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu mamparang. Idang vo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Idang vo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Idang vo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Imina punya kammena māme bāla samāgamo satang samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā. Imina punya kammena māme bāla samāgamo satang samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā. Imina punya kammena māme bāla samāgamo satang samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sukhi hotu. Sadhu, sadhu anumodami. Sadhu anumoditabbang. Kamami kamitabbang. Sukhi hotu nibbāna paccayo hotu. Sukhi hotu nibbāna paccayo hotu. Abhivādana sīlissa niccang vaddhā pacāyino Chattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvanno sukham balang ayurārogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevaca ato nibbāna sampatti imināte samijjatu.